Welcome back. All right, so 13 games tonight. There's a night next week where there's 14. There's a night where there's 15. And so I just do my best. I'm not going to claim that I watched every minute of every game, but I did my best to figure out, who played well and who didn't. And we'll start off the show with discussing the Tampa Bay Lightning at home against Calgary Flames. So it was Markstrom versus Vasilevsky in this one. Early chances for Tampa Bay. Hagel was denied on an opportunity he got on a turnover. The shots are 4 apiece at 7 minutes. Lucic scores, but it's challenged for offside, and as soon as it's challenged for offside, it's offside. And then less than a minute later, Tampa Bay scores, and it's Stamkos. Like I said, he's getting hot again. From Sergachev and Paul at 8:03. Nemesnikov then almost got one. He hasn't got one yet this year. Colton's shot blocked with his hand. I don't recommend that. That looks painful. Flames get a power play. That was killed off by Tampa. There's a press by the Flames with 2 minutes left. There was a near miss for Kucherov in the final seconds. So after the first period, I thought Tampa played well. Calgary was about even with them. But second period, I felt like Calgary was the better team. Lindholm's denied on a rush. Shots are 7-3 for the Flames at the half. And every time I was going to this game, the play was in Tampa's zone. It's like, all right, because I had 6 games on the TV and 4 on the computer. Flames press, 9 minutes left. Huberdeau was denied. Vasilevsky holds. The Flames get a power play. Things get pushy after a hold by Vasilevsky. Ref is told that he sucks on a call that the Tampa Bay fans wanted. The power play is killed off, though, and then the Bolts do get a power play. Stamkos blasts one wide, but then it's Kucherov, a one-timer, top shelf at 18-16 from Stamkos and Sergachev. That makes it 2-0. Toffoli then has a shot that's kicked aside before the period's out, but it is 2-0 for Tampa after one. Second period, Markstrom gets absolutely drilled. It was accidental, but still, it was a scary incident. The Flames come out of that with a power play, and they would score on it. It's Lindholm, stays hot from Huberdeau and Toffoli at 4:53, but 10 seconds later, Philippe Myers is credited with a goal. So, yeah, it's a one-goal game for 10 seconds. The shots are 7-2 for Calgary with 8.5 minutes left. So if there's one thing Calgary can take out of this game, they played well. They just didn't get the result. Hagel's denied on a power play for Tampa Bay that was killed off by Calgary. Zadorov then had a rush chance that was saved. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Point fires wide on a rush. Goalie pull with 1 minute and 45 seconds left with 1:37 left. The Flames call a timeout. But in the end, it's an empty netter that finishes out the game. Kucherov from Hagel and Cole at 19:46. Tampa Bay, wearing their spiffy reverse retros, win this one. They go to 10-6-1 with the 4-1 victory. Calgary drops to 7-7-2. 3 stars are Vasilevsky, Sergachev, and Stamkos. Your shots, 12-11 Calgary in the first, 16-6 Calgary in the second, 12-7 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 40-24 for Calgary. They just got goaltendered. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 3, Tampa Bay 1 for 2. The hits, 46-34 Calgary. Markstrom saves 20 out of 23. Vasilevsky saves 39 out of 40. So, yeah, Tampa Bay wins this one. Impressive game. Next up, Colorado in against the Carolina Hurricanes. This was a great game. This was a great game, and it was a great game because Francouz demanded that it be a great game. It was Francouz versus Ronta. The Canes get an early power play. The Avs didn't let them set that up. Pesce has a shot that's saved as it ends. The Avs then get a power play. There was a shorthanded break for Martinook. That was saved. And then on that power play, Rodriguez scores at 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Stahl then had a net feed that was blocked. The shots are 5-3 for the Canes with 8.5 minutes left. So it was a tentative start for a Carolina game. Canes get a power play. That's killed off. They would press as well with 3.5 minutes left. Newhook was denied on a fast break, but it's 1-0 Colorado after one. Second period. Early press by the Canes. Fast has a shot that deflects wide. The hitting is ramping up at this point. The shots are 6-4 for the Canes at 7 minutes, and at 7:14, Aho scores from Natchez. That was on a face-off win. Nice play in front of the net. Aho not denied. Canes get a power play. It was a good one, but it was killed off by Colorado. And then Newhook would restore the lead for Colorado. He scores from Manson and Johnson at 14:20. Then there's 2 minutes of 4-on-4. I just realized I mixed up the Colorado magnets that I was using. Try not to do that. 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Abs would get a power play after that. That was killed off. So we go to the third period with Colorado ahead 2-1. Early jump for the Canes again. In fact, 5.5 minutes into the third period, the shots are 7-1 Carolina. They wanted this. Avs get a power play, but really good kill by the Canes. Their PK was on form at that point. And then NHS scores from Slavin at 10:23. The shots are 13-2 for Carolina with 6.5 minutes left, and Colorado wouldn't get a shot from that point forward in the rest of the third period. Canes get a power play with 1:49 left. There's a timeout called by Carolina before it starts. Burns fires one wide, and there was a near miss by Natchez in the closing seconds. We're going to overtime. Canes controlled early with what was left of the power play. That finishes up. And then at 1:55, on a really nice pass, a one-timer is buried by Lehkonen. Compher and Taves with the assists. Colorado goes into Carolina and beats them at home 3-2 in overtime. They go to 9-5-1 with the victory. Carolina drops to 10-5-2 with the loss in overtime. 3 stars are Lehkonen, Natchez, and Francouz. The shots, all Carolina. 12-5 in the first, 17-6 in the second, 18-2 in the third, and then Colorado outshoots them 2-1 in the overtime, including the one that matters. Final shots are 48-15 for Carolina, and they lose the game. Power plays 1 for 3 for Colorado, 0 for 4 for Carolina. Hits 28-18 Colorado. Francouz saves 46 out of 48. That'll fix up his save percentage. And Raanta saves 12 out of 15. That will submarine his save percentage, but entertaining game. All right, next up, Dallas. The Dallas Stars in against the Florida Panthers. This was an entertaining game too. It got a little too entertaining late for me. Florida's dangerous. So anyways, Wedgwood versus Burakovsky in this one. Good early jump for the Panthers. They get a power play. That was killed off. And then just after that power play ends on a shorthanded 2-on-1 that becomes just an even-handed 2-on-1, Hintz would score from Sagan and Lindell at 4:58. So Dallas is up 1-0. The shots are 6-1 for Florida at 6 minutes. So the frustrating part for Florida is that there's only one shot for Dallas, and it's gone in. They've had 6, and none of theirs have gone in. Robertson has a rush chance that's held. Mark Stahl had a rush chance that was saved. And then Lundqvist, he scores his first as a star from Glendening and Faxa at 15:16. And less than a minute later at 15:53, it was Ben on a break all alone from Johnston and Dellandrea. So, yeah, all of a sudden it's 3-0. Panthers try to answer, but before the period's out, on a turnover and scored 5-hole, it's not the prettiest of goals, Sagan scores from Marchment. So that makes it 4-0 Dallas and ends the night of Bobrovsky early. Second period, early hold by Wedgwood. Panthers had a pressure in the first minute. They came out knowing we're behind by 4. We have to really pick up our game here. Stars press at 5 minutes. The Panthers would get a power play, and at 7:28, they get on the board. It's Verhaeghe from Forsling and Bennett. The Stars would get a power play shortly after that. That was killed off. The shots are 4-3 for Florida at the half. Pressed by the Panthers with 9.5 minutes left. But then, on a fast break, it's Rope Hintz from Robertson at 10:56. These guys are just deadly. That lead gets cut into again, though. It is Luostarinen from Bennett and Tkachuk at 12:12. Stars get a power play. That was killed off by Florida. And Wedgwood got hurt. Ottinger ends up going in. That's during the power play. But yeah, the rest of the power play was killed off with Ottinger in the net. The Panthers then get a power play and they score on theirs. It is at 18:27. It's Reinhart from Ekblad and Montour. So, yeah, that makes it close. A little closer than I'd like it to be after 2. Panthers would press again before the period's out. But after 2 periods, it's 5-3 in favor of Dallas. Third period, shots are 3-1 for the Panthers at 4.5 minutes. Panthers would press at 5.5. The Stars, though, they get a power play. That led to a shorthanded 2-on-1. Ottinger would make a nice save there, but that power play is killed off. The shots even up. Good defense by the Stars until at 13:57, it is Tkachuk scoring from Bennett and Verhaeghe. Then with 2:33 left, we have some 4-on-4 play. Montour blocked an empty net goal. However, Dellandrea would hit the empty net from Ben and Glendening at 19:42. Your final score is actually 6-4. So I've got the wrong score up there. Let me fix that. There really was a ridiculous amount of goals scored tonight. So yeah, that makes it 6-4. That's your final score. Your 3 stars in this game, Hintz, Bennett, and Sagan. 10-5-2 now is the record for Dallas. Florida 9-7-1 with the loss. So the shots in this one, 13-11 Florida in the first, 15-9 Florida in the second, 16-9 Florida in the third. Final shots were 44-29 for Florida. Power plays, Dallas 0 for 3, Florida 2 for 4. The hits, 30-14 Florida. So again, This is 3 games in a row where the team that had the better goaltending gets the win, not necessarily the team that plays better. Wedgwood with 21 saves on 23 shots when he got hurt. We'll see how long he's going to be out. Ottinger, 19 saves on 21 shots. Bobrovsky saved 7 out of 11 before he's done. Knight saved 16 out of 17. So all 4 goalies appeared in this one tonight. And again, entertaining game. All right, next up, Montreal and Columbus. So this is a game between 2 teams that probably aren't going to make the playoffs. Although Columbus is trying, and Montreal keeps things interesting by keeping their games fun to watch. So it's Montembeault versus Korpisalo in this one. The Habs press at 2.5 minutes. Johnson had a rush chance. It was defended. The shots are 3-1 Montreal at 6.5 minutes. But at 7:28, it is Cole Sillinger who scores from Goodbranson and Christensen. Columbus presses for another. Jack-Eye then sent Foodie into the Habs bench, which was a fantastic hit by Jack-Eye. Nyquist then makes it 2-0 from Bayreuther and Chinikov at 16:19. The Habs would press with 1.5 minutes left, but it's 2-0 Columbus after the second period. Early jump for Montreal. Caulfield has a rush chance to save. The shots are 6-4 in favor of the Habs at 7 minutes. Jackets get a power play. That was killed off, and then Harris gets his first from Suzuki and Slavkovsky at 13:35. The Habs would then get a power play. There was a shorthanded rush by Gavrikov. That power play is killed off. The Habs go back to the power play. It's a bit of a parade now with the boxes filling up too. But on a power play, Josh Anderson scores from Gallagher and Dvorak at 19:57. So as they're getting ready to drop the puck, and they did kind of drop the puck, well, Jack-Eye had a fight with Olivier. So there you go, Jack-Eye with the big hit, and then with a fight to end out the period. So third period, early press by the Habs. Dodonov is denied on a break. Habs with some momentum, but Jenner would take care of that. He scores from Johnson and Goudreau at 6:36, and it was a tic-tac-toe opportunity on a rush. Those are fun to watch. Monahan was then robbed, but Gallagher wasn't. He gets what's only his 3rd on the season thus far from Dvorak and Hoffman at 9:27, but Columbus answers. It's Corrali from Robinson at 10:09, and then Olivier from Corrali at 11:09, so Columbus just pouring it on at this point. Suzuki would answer from Doc and Kovacevic at 11:17, so 8 seconds later, and it was a nice goal by Suzuki, but then the empty net goal is scored by Corrali at 17:47. Your final score is 6-4 for Columbus. They go to 6-9-1 with the win. For Montreal, they drop to 8-8-1 with the loss. The 3 stars in this one, Corrali, Olivier, and Jenner. Shots, 11 apiece in the first, 13-9 Montreal in the second, 18-9 Montreal in the third. Final shots, 42-29 for Montreal. Power plays, 1 for 3 for Montreal, 0 for 1 for Columbus. The hits were 18-8 Columbus. Montembeault saves 23 out of 28. Korpisalo, very good, 38 saves on 42 shots. All 4 of these games, the team that played better ends up losing. Each game, the team that gets 40 shots ends up losing the game. That's such a bizarre thing to see. I don't know that I've seen that on the board before. Next up, New Jersey and Toronto. This felt like an important game, and there's some good to take out of this if you're a fan of either team. But if you're a Devils fan, make it 11. The team record is 13 back in the year. I believe it's 2000 that they had the 13-game winning streak. 2000 was a good year for the Devils. So it's Vanacek versus Murray in this one. Riley has a rush chance that's held. The Leafs had the early jump. Marner has a shot that's blocked. There were no Devils shots at all in the first 6 minutes, although it is worthy to point out Toronto had 1. Now, why would I point out New Jersey had no shots? Because their game is predicated on getting a ton of shots, and Toronto was preventing that early. The Leafs press at 9 minutes. The Devils would get a power play. Toronto kills that off. Press by the Devils with 6.5 minutes left. The Leafs, though, they would get a power play, and they'd score on it. It's Matthews with his 8th of the season from Bunting and Marner at 15-15. That was also a tic-tac-toe play to get the goal. So nice to see Marner ran his point streak up to 11 games there. Bratt would answer, though, from Howla at 15:39. Wires the top corner. So the happiness for Toronto fans. While they're announcing the goal, that one's put in. Devils press with 3 minutes left, but after the first period, it's 1-1. Second period, Leafs press at 1.5 minutes, but on a rush opportunity, Hischier. He wires it from Zetterlund at 3:02, so that puts New Jersey ahead 2-1. The Devils press at 6.5 minutes. Near net feed to Malgin, near miss there. Leafs get a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by Toronto with 4 minutes left. The Devils, they press themselves. They draw a power play. That leads to a shorthanded Marner rush. That was saved. And it also drew a penalty to make it 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 26 seconds. So we go to the third period. Early jump for the Devils. Hughes is denied in close. Hamilton had a rush opportunity that was saved. Severson fires one wide. Murray holds as the Devils press. Good, impressive third period by the Devils to this point. Leafs get a power play. There was a shorthanded rush by Hischier towards the end that did finish that off. Boquist is then denied on a rush with 5:17 left. The Leafs get a power play. That's killed off just the one shot on that power play. But Nylander would tie it. He scores from Matthews and Riley at 17:51. We're going to overtime. Devils control it early, and they would control it to the point where they end it. Sharangovich from Hughes at 57 seconds. He buried the rebound on what was a delayed penalty. So it's a 3-2 overtime victory. New Jersey's 14-3. Toronto drops to 9-5-4. They had a good game. Your shots in this one, 12-9 New Jersey in the first, 8-6 New Jersey in the second, 12-11 Toronto in the third. New Jersey had both shots in the overtime, including the one that matters. Final shots, 33-27 for New Jersey. Power plays, New Jersey 0 for 2. Toronto 1 for 5. The hits, 30-23 for New Jersey. Vanacek saves 25 out of 27. Murray saved 30 out of 33. And I thought for the second straight game, Matt Murray looked pretty good. And now we need to change boards. All right, next board. Next up, Philadelphia in against Boston. These are two teams going in opposite directions, as I mentioned in the preview, and they're still going in opposite directions. Hart versus Ullmark in this one. I don't know if the sheen is coming off of Hart's really, really good first month of the season, but it kind of feels like it is. So Stralman has a net drive, that save. There was a near miss for Zacha in close. Flyers press at 4.5 minutes. Frost had a chance that was held on to. Bruins get a power play. There's a near miss for Bergeron. Good cycle, but that's killed off. Shots are 5 apiece at 9 minutes. Bergeron had a rush chance that was blocked out. The Flyers get a power play. Towards the end of it, with just 2 seconds left, they take a penalty and make it 4-on-4. Marchand has a wraparound chance that's held. There's some pushing after that. Power plays are all killed off. Pastrnak then has a shot that's held. And to start the second period, oh, no, I'm wrong. To start the second period, the Bruins still had 1:18 left on the power play to start. So it was a pretty impressive power play to end out that period. And so to start the second period, Marchand has a blast that's caught and held. They did kill that off. So Philadelphia does kill that off. I just got ahead of myself. So things get pushy after a hole by Ullmark. Bruins press at 4 minutes. 9 minutes left in the period. The shots were 6-4 for the Bruins, and 11:25. Nosek scores from Foligno and Zacha. The Flyers would get a power play with 33 seconds left in the second, so they have a chance to maybe tie things up, but the Bruins finish the kill to start the third period. Flyers go back to the power play. That's killed off. The Bruins would then get a power play. They did score on theirs. It's DeBrusk from Pastrnak and McAvoy at 7:32, and he buries that one in close. It was a nice play there. The Flyers get a power play shortly after that. They score on theirs too. It's Tippett from Hayes and D'Angelo at 9:48. There were no shutouts tonight. I'd expected a couple. Nothing. So yeah, Tippett gets a goal there. But then 16 seconds later, Krejci, rush chance, Zacha and Lindholm with the assists. So that restores the 2-goal lead. The Bruins would press for another. They end up getting a power play and they score on it. It's Krejci from Foligno and Hall at 16:21. So Boston's power play, not bad. And that's a 4-1 score. That's your final. Boston goes to 15-2. It's ridiculous. At this point, their record is absolutely ridiculous. Philadelphia is 7-7-3 with the loss, so now they're down to NHL 500, but they've won 7 out of 17. The 3 stars in this one, Ullmark, Krejci, and Zacha. Your shots, 12-8 Boston in the first, 10-5 Boston in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third. Your final shots are 32-23 for the Bruins. Power plays, Philadelphia 1 for 4, Boston 2 for 4. The hits were 26-22 for Philadelphia. Hart saves 28 out of 32. Ullmark saved 22 out of 23. Ullmark wasn't busy, but he was good. So there you go. Next up, Anaheim and Winnipeg. This one almost went the wrong way for the Jets. And on a night where Solani's being honored, so I'm wearing my Solani jersey. That's why I'm wearing Jet stuff. And it was Gibson versus Hellebuck and the whole, Solani celebration and all that. And great. Dubois couldn't bury one in close. The Ducks press at 5 minutes. This game went very fast. Considering it started later than the other games started at the same time, it only finished a couple minutes after the others. Ducks press at 5 minutes, though. Shots are 6-3 for the Jets at 8 minutes, but it's the Anaheim Ducks that open the scoring. It's Terry from Fowler and Carrick at 10:17. The Jets would press with 7 minutes left. The Ducks press back with 5.5 left. And yeah, coming out of that first period, they're up 1-0. And I thought that, we were flipping through channels and all this. And what I saw, they were the better team. Second period, Jets were in neutral early. I don't know how else to call it. Just plays in their own zone. That they're not attacking. Their passing is kind of off. They just seemed a little off at that point. There was a power play for Anaheim. That's killed off. We then had a fight between Carrick and Dillon. The Jets get a power play. They would score on it. Connor scores on the power play from Dubois and Morrissey at 12:32. Jets get another power play. Benoit then blocks a prime chance for Connor. That's killed off, and then there's some back and forth. The Ducks press in the final minute, but it's 1-1 after 2. Third period, Gagne had a rush chance that was held. The shots were only 2-1 for the Ducks at 4 minutes. And I thought it was a really deliberate look to the third, and the Ducks were playing like a team that really wanted to at least come out of tonight with a point. Connor has a net feed that was cleared out. The Jets press at 7.5 minutes. Schmidt had a shot blocked. The Ducks rushed the other way. Very few whistles, good flow until at 14:15, Connor scores from Gagne and Scheifele, so that makes it 2-1 Jets. One-timer in close. They have a lead for a little less than 30 seconds. At 14:43, Zegras scores from Henrique and Fowler. So that ties it up. And then in the final minute, nice little press there, and it's Connor with the hat-trick goal from Scheifele and Pionk at 19:05. One of my favorite Jets. I mean, I should be wearing the Connor jersey, but I thought, nah, I'll leave my Kyle Connor jersey. I'll wear the Solani. So the Jets end up winning this one 3-2. They escape what it really was a trap game for them tonight. The Ducks dropped to 5-11-1. The Jets wearing their amazing reverse retros. Another reason to wear this jersey tonight. They go to 10-4-1. The 3 stars are Connor, Hellebuck, and Gibson. The shots 12-10 Anaheim in the first, 15-11 Winnipeg in the second, 8-7 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 32-31 for the Jets. Power plays, Anaheim 0-for-1, Winnipeg 1-for-2. Hits 17-9 for Winnipeg. Gibson saves 29 out of 32. Hellebuck saved 29 out of 31. And yeah, both goalies were quite the story, and it was an entertaining game. All right, next up, Islanders in Nashville. This wasn't an interesting game until it got interesting. So it's Sorokin versus Saros, and with what looked like it was the fourth shot already, Nashville, they just came out and they swarmed. Forsberg scores from Yossi and Parsonen at 1:03. Now, on their first shot, the Islanders scored a tie. It's Pelech from Pollock at 2:43. So tie game, and I'm thinking this could be a high score, and sure enough, it was. Preds get a power play that's killed off, but at 8:43, Sissons scores from Smith and Yossi, and then less than a minute later at 9:41, Yossi scores from Niederreiter and McDonough. That's how Yossi's turning around what was a slow start for him. And so it's 3-1 in favor of Nashville. The Preds would press with 8.5 minutes left, and after the first period, it just looked like Nashville was going to blow them out. This was a game that the Islanders really were being outplayed, everything I watched of it. Second period, Duchesne was denied early. Wallstrom then had a chance to deflect it out. Preds press at 2 minutes. Parsonen would score at 5:01 from Forsberg and Fabro. Things get shovey after a hold by Sorokin. Sorokin plays the whole game. You might think that with 3 goals in the first, they might think of going to Varlamov. Doesn't happen. Pressed by the Predators with 9 minutes left, but the Islanders score again. It is Clutterbuck from Martin and Pelech at 15:41, so that makes it 4-2. The Islanders would then press with 2.5 minutes left, and the Islanders had a good second period, which would lead into a really good third period. Palmieri scores from Pajot and Romanov at 4:32. It was a really nice pass, buries it from the slot. Preds call a timeout to say, hey, get your together. Come on, guys. But the Islanders would get a power play. The Preds were shot blocking as the Islanders are cycling. Nelson has a blast that's held. It's killed off. There's 2 shots. And the shots 9.5 minutes into the period are 11-0 in favor of the Islanders. Yeah, they were flat. Those Preds were flat. But Nashville gets a power play, and they score on it. So being advantageous of how many shots you get, that's smart. Parsonen scores from Granlund and Yossi at 9:52. So there's Yossi again. The Islanders get a power play that's killed off, but they would get another power play shortly thereafter. They score on this one. It's Pajot from Leon Barzal at 15:39. But with 2:50 left, Nashville gets a power play. So that essentially kills the rest of it. Your final score is 5-4 for Nashville. They're back at 500, 8-8-1. For the Islanders, frustrating loss. They're 11-7. Your 3 stars in this one, Parsonen, Yossi, and Forsberg. The shots 18-7 Nashville in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 16-3 Islanders in the third. Final shots were actually 33-31 for the Isles. Power plays, both teams 1 for 3. The hits, 37-18 for the Islanders. Surprised Nashville didn't have more shots, or more hits, I should say. Sorokin, 26 saves on 31 shots. Saros saves 29 out of 33. And yeah, Nashville comes out of that one with the win. Kudos to Nashville on that one. All right, next up, Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Penguins in against the Minnesota Wild. You'll notice this is much faster because there's a lot less notes. So there you go. It should have sound problems for a lot shorter period of time on YouTube when I upload it. You're welcome. It's Jarry versus Gustafson in the Penguins Minnesota Wild matchup. The shots were 3-1 for the Wild at 3.5 minutes. Crosby would score on the second shot that Pittsburgh had in the game from Gensel and Raquel at 8:15. The Wild would then get a power play. That's killed off. The Penguins pressed with 4.5 minutes left, but they didn't get any shots out of it. The shots are 5-2, in fact, for the Wild with 4 minutes left. But at 17:03, Pittsburgh scores again. So it's Paling from Bluger and Archibald. The Wild would try to answer, but after one period, it's 2-0 Pittsburgh. They only had 4 shots. So the questions about goaltending, especially now that you've got Fleury on the IR, it's there with Minnesota. Second period, Foligno fires one wide on a 3-on-2, and then Minnesota has a little bit of a scoring spree here. First, it's Duhaime from Foligno at 4:31, and then 12 seconds later, it's Eriksson Ek. Unassisted, he ties the game up. Wild then look for the lead. Things get pushy after a hold by Gustafson. The shots are 6-3 for the Wild at 8 minutes. Penguins get a power play. That's killed off. The Wild would get a power play. It becomes a 4-on-4, which means it becomes a Penguins power play, and they would score there. Crosby gives the lead, or Letang gets the lead back for Pittsburgh on the power play. He scores from Crosby and Malkin at 18:20, so that makes it 3-2. And the other Wild minor penalty is killed off. So there was a lot of power play back and forth stuff going on. It's one of those parades. We've been seeing a lot of those lately. Third period, early press by the Wild. Rossi with a turnover. Gustafson bails him out with a big save there. Zucker fires one wide on a rush. The Penguins would get a power play, and they'd score on this one too. Now it's the Crosby power play goal from Gensel and Jarry at 5:50. So Tristan Jarry on the board with a power play assist. That's a rarity for a goaltender. The Wild then get a power play. Rossi had maybe his best opportunity in the NHL. That was saved. That's killed off. I'm starting to think for Rossi, for his confidence, it might be better to send him down to Iowa for a little bit. So the Penguins do get a power play. During that power play, it's a shorthanded goal. It's Eriksson Ek with his second of the game. He scores from Goudreau and Brodin at 11:23, and that's at the start of the power play. That's like 10 seconds into it, so that's a good start. So that's killed off. And then McGinn scores at 14:33, and it was from a distance. It really shouldn't have gone in. That's one that Gustafson has to save that one there. So, yeah, goalie pull with 4 minutes left, and Gensel would hit the empty net. He scores from Crosby and Pettersson at 16:31. Before the game's out, Minnesota did get another goal. Dumba scores from Kaprizov and Zuccarello at 19:52. Makes the score 6-4. It's a little more acceptable, and I guess it's the third game of the night that has 10 goals in it. There's this game here has 9 goals. It's a lot of goals. A lot to keep track of. There were a couple times tonight where I was putting goal magnets up for one game, and I'd hear a horn. I'd be like, seriously, I haven't caught up yet. What are you doing? So, yeah, at this 10 games. So, yeah, Pittsburgh goes to 7-7-3 with the win. Minnesota, they drop to, I believe it's 7-8-2 with the loss. But yeah, so Minnesota's back below 500. I know they're below 500. I'm pretty sure it's 7-8-2. Your 3 stars are Crosby, Letang, and Eriksson Ek. The shots, 5-4 Minnesota in the first, 16-9 Pittsburgh in the second, 12-9 Pittsburgh in the third. The final shot's 32-23 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, Pittsburgh 2 for 5, Minnesota 0 for 3. The hits, 29-25 in favor of Minnesota. Jarry saves 19 out of 23. Gustafson saved 26 out of 31. So, yeah, rough night for the goaltenders. Great night for people who like to see a bunch of goals. That being said, I need to change boards. And here we go. All right, so Washington in against St. Louis. This might have been the craziest game of the night, but look, another 9 goals. You got 11 over here. So Lindgren versus Greiss in this one. Shen would score from Kyrou and Barbashev at 4:56. He scores that one on a rush. And then at 7 minutes and 10 seconds, Buchnevich scores from Tarasenko and Leddy. It looks like they're going to run away with this. Shots are 4-1 in favor of the Blues at 7.5 minutes. The Blues would get a power play. That was killed off. And then Krug scores from Thomas and Tarasenko at 11:49. So it's 3-0. Caps get a power play. Ovechkin has a shot that's held. We end up with 39 seconds of 4-on-4. Buchnevich has a rush chance that deflects out, so there's a power play that rolls over into the second period, but everything's killed off there, so nothing to worry about. Shots are 2-1 in favor of Washington at 3.5 minutes. Carlson was denied on a rush. The Caps press. They draw a power play. That's killed off. I don't know why I put an extra S in Carlson, if you can read that. I know a lot of people can't. Near miss then for Tarasenko. The shots are 14-4 in favor of the Caps. I wrote Canes. This is what happens when there's 10 games going on at the same time. I end up making that kind of an error. I know what I mean, but it's the kind of thing too where I will misspeak. I'm gonna apologize straight up for any misspeaking I do during this video, because it does happen. I'll blame it on the Gary Bettman phone call earlier today. Sure, that works. So yeah, shots are 14-4 for the Capitals with 5 minutes left. It really doesn't get better if you're a Blues fan, because Ovechkin scores from Strome at 15-12. The Blues get a power play, and that leads to a shorthanded goal by Carlson, Dowd with the assist at 17:36. So suddenly it's a 3-2 game. At 18:02, 4 seconds after the power play ends, O'Reilly scores from Levo. So since that's a 5-on-5 goal, that helps his plus-minus, which I've talked about a couple of times this season. So the score's 4-2 in favor of St. Louis after 2. And I thought, well, they should hold on to this. But they don't play like they wanted to hold on to this in the third. Milano's denied and close. Kyrou has a rush that ends up on top of the net. So, I mean, it was close. It ends up on top of the net. Caps press at 2 minutes. The Blues struggle to clear it. They were hemmed in for a couple of shifts there. The Blues press at 3.5 minutes, but it's short. It's out right away. The Caps have the 7-2 shot advantage 7 minutes in. They're really wanting points here. Grice saves an Ovechkin shot. Levo fires one high on a rush. The Caps would press with 6.5 minutes left. They would get a power play, and they would pull the goaltender to make it a 6-on-4. Johansson's denied. Grice holds. But then the power play goal is scored at 15:45, and it is Carlson from Strome and Ovechkin. And suddenly, this game is really close. And then Sherry ties it up. He scores at 16:57 from Kuznetsov and Ovechkin. It was a fantastic pass by Kuzi, and Sherry buries it. And then Dowd scored. And so suddenly, Washington had a lead. But to the betterment of the Blues' chances, it was reviewed, and no, it was a high stick. So it doesn't count, and we go to overtime. Blues controlled early. Kuznetsov fanned on one. Grice held on to it anyways when it got to him. Kyrou has a shot that saved the Caps rush. Kyrou was then denied on a fast break. Thomas is denied in close, and we're going to a shootout. The shootout went on for a while. Eventually, the winner is scored by Buchnevich. So your final score is 5-4 in the shootout for St. Louis. They do even the record at 8-8 wearing those reverse retros, which are... they're different. I will definitely have some things to say when I see those in person. They are definitely different. For the Capitals, they're 7-9-3 with the shootout loss. It's another setback for them. Your 3 stars, Buchnevich, Carlson, and Grice, who gets his first victory with the Blues tonight. The shots 9-7 Washington in the first, 18-9 Washington in the second, and 22-3 Washington in the third. Notice I'm not looking at the board because I remember that. Shots were 5-2 in the overtime in favor of St. Louis, so I glanced because I didn't remember that. Final shots are 51-24 for the Capitals. 51 shots. St. Louis needs to fix that. Power plays, Washington 1 for 3, St. Louis 1 for 4. The hits were 17-14 Caps. Lindgren 20 saves on 24 shots. Grice saved 47 out of 51. Bailed him out pretty well. So Grice and Binnington, their stats have been coming up. Now the Blues are back to 500. And we'll see what they can do from here. It's a 4-game winning streak for them. All right, next up. Vegas at home against Arizona. And I mean, it's Vegas isn't losing against Arizona. It's just not happening. They lost against them once last year out of 3 opportunities. I can't see it happening. Vamilka versus Thompson. This was Kessel's 1,000th straight consecutive game being played. And they had a nice ceremony before the game, and congratulations to him on that. Vegas gets a power play. Smith has a net feed that flecks out. That's killed off. Vegas goes back to the power play. Carlson with a shot that's held. That's killed off as well. The shots are 9-3 for Vegas at 8.5 minutes. The Coyotes would get a power play. That was killed off. A lot of power plays in this game. Vegas pressed with 5 minutes left. But coming out of the first period, I think Arizona had to be pretty happy. It's scoreless. Second period, early chance for Vegas. Stetcher was then denied from the slot. There was a 3-minute shift for Theodore as Coyotes were pressing. In fact, 5.5 minutes into the period, the shots are 4-1 in favor of the Coyotes. It wouldn't stay that way. Vegas presses at 6 minutes. We then had a fight between O'Brien and COL-CAR. COL-CAR's jersey got ripped. I think what happened was the top part where they attached the fight strap. I think that's what ripped off. I thought, wow, that has to be. You have to apply a lot of force to rip that out. Anyways, it's just one of those things I get distracted by, right? Keller has a rush chance that's kicked aside. Carrier fires one wide on a rush. Vegas gets a power play and they score on it. It's Pietrangelo from Eichel and Marchessault at 12:21. He just wired it. There's no doubt there. No chance for Milka. Marchessault nearly adds another. Vegas presses with 6 minutes left. The Coyotes would press. They draw a power play, but Vegas killed that off. So we're going to the third period with Vegas up 1-0. Carrier at 32 seconds buries it on a net drive from Roy and Pietrangelo. So it's 2-0. Coyotes try to answer, but Vegas would get a power play. Eichel has a shot that saved. Good cycle by Vegas, but that's killed off. I think they said they had 14 shots on the power play, which ties a team record. Stone would make it 3-0 though from Pietrangelo and Stevenson at 5:54. Coyotes get a power play. That was killed off. Gostisbehere then had a blast that was held, and Keller ruins the shutout. He scores from Mosier at 11:29. It was a weird goal. He just kind of flung it at the net, and it deflects off people and in, and it's just one of those goals. That's why they tell you no shot at the net's a bad one. Coyotes press with 6 minutes left. Vegas gets a power play with 3:40 left. There was a post for Theodore. That is killed off. But then Smith scores from Marchessault on a play right off of a face-off at 18:56. So Vegas wins this one 4-1. They go to 14-4, so they do get back on the winning track. For Arizona, they're at 6-9-1 now with the loss. I'm feeling bad for them right now. This is rough. The 3 stars. So I was waiting a while for the 3 stars from the Vegas game. So I put mine up where I put Pietrangelo, Marchessault, and Thompson would have been my 3 stars. They did put up the 3 stars. Pietrangelo, Carrier, and Thompson. So I was close. The shots, 12-7 Vegas in the first, 13-9 Vegas in the second, 14-10 Vegas in the third. Final shots, 39-26 for the Golden Knights. Power plays, Arizona 0-4. Vegas 1-5. Hits were 31-25 Arizona. Vamilka saves 35 out of 39. Thompson saves 25 out of 26. So, yeah, entertaining game. It's just, Arizona can fight and keep them close, but in the end, they just don't have the star power that a team like Vegas does. So, not all that surprised at the result. Next up, the Rangers in against Seattle. This one surprised me. Not going to lie, this one really surprised me. Shesterkin versus Jones. Good early back and forth. And then at 2:45, McCann. He scores from Borgen and Eberle. The Rangers would get a power play. That was killed off. No shots on the power play for the Rangers. It wouldn't stay that way with their power play, however. Shots are 6-2 for the Rangers at 6.5 minutes. They would press with 8 minutes left. They would get a power play. They would score on it at 14:58. It is Zibanejad from Kreider and Trocheck. The Kraken press in the final minute. It's 1-1 after 1, even though the Rangers outshot them by more than 2-1. So that was an important period for Seattle to survive. Second period, the early jump is for the Kraken. Schultz has a blast that's held. Then we get some pushing after that. There was a post for Beniers on a rush. Beniers doesn't get on the board with a goal and an assist tonight, but he's all around the net. Just not any puck luck for him tonight. Then Sprong was robbed on a break. There was too many men on the ice, so the Kraken get a power play. There were 9 Rangers on the ice. 9. So I have to say I admire them for this. Hey, if we're gonna have too many men on the ice, let's throw a bunch out there. It was just there was 9 guys out there. So shorthanded rush for Kreider. He hits a crossbar. There was a shorthanded rush for Fox. That was saved. Power plays killed off, and the Rangers had the better opportunities. Seattle presses at 6.5 minutes. The shots are 9-3 for the Kraken at 7.5 minutes. Kraken go back to the power play. Sprong fires one wide. The next shot he had hit the post. That's killed off. Donato then had a rush chance that deflects out. The Rangers press with 4 minutes left. With 3:53 left, the Kraken get a power play. The Rangers kill that off. So after 2 periods, it's still 1-1. Third period, Trouba's denied as the Rangers press. McCann has a shot that's blocked from the slot. The shots are 3-0 for the Rangers at 5 minutes. The Rangers get a power play. Lafreniere had a shot that was held. That was killed off. And then Schultz. It was a deflected point shot. No chance for Shesterkin. He scores from Burakovsky and Schwartz at 9:27. That goal may have changed since the game ended to Schwartz. It may end up being Schwartz's goal if it's not already. Seattle gets a power play. There was a post for Beniers. Like I said, he has no puck luck right now. Good cycle. It's dangerous, but it's killed off. 2:56 left. The Rangers get a power play. You can't let them do that. Trocheck has a blast that's held. There's a 6-on-4 with 2:23 left, and at 18:06, they take advantage. Trocheck buries a rebound. Goudreau and Fox with the assists. That ties the game at 2. We are going to overtime. Rangers control early. Beniers is denied. Gord had a net drive that was defended. Zibanejad has a blast that's held. And then I actually did a bit of a double take. Because the net kind of came off on it too, I thought, okay, is that going to count? Like, I just, watching it in real time, I thought, that's going to count, right? So everybody's celebrating. And I'm like, is it? And, there was no reason it wouldn't have counted. It was just a weird-looking goal. Schultz gets the goal from Eberle and Dunn at 3:39. So Schultz with his second goal of the game, unless, as I said, that's been changed. And Seattle wins in overtime, which is an oddity. They win 3-2 in overtime to go to 9-5-3 for the Rangers. 8-6-4 now with that overtime loss. And a rarity, too, that an Eastern team loses against a Western team. I'm just looking over there, and no, actually tonight, that was not as unusual as it is other nights. Yeah, the West had a good night against the East generally tonight. So Schultz, McCann, and Shesterkin are your three stars. The shots 14-6 Rangers in the first, 16-5 Seattle in the second, 9-8 Rangers in the third, and then in the overtime the shots were 3-2 for Seattle. Power plays, or the overall shots were 33-30 for Seattle. Power plays, the Rangers 2 for 4, Seattle 0 for 4. So Seattle allowed nothing 5-on-5 tonight. Hits 24-22 Rangers. Shesterkin 30 saves on 33 shots. Jones was good. 28 saves on 30 shots. He doesn't get into the 3 stars. I don't know. I don't get it. John Forsland even said if both goalies aren't in the 3 stars, we need to have an investigation. All right, John, get on it, because they're not both there. But I understand why Schultz is there, and I kind of understand McCann as well, but I would have had Jones in there. Martin Jones has been playing the best hockey. I will say this. I think Martin Jones right now is playing some of the best hockey he has in his entire career. If that's considered a hot take, then it's a hot take. But that's how I feel about it, honestly. All right, last up, the one that I was pretty sure was going to a shootout, and I got nervous in the third, and then thank you, Detroit Red Wings. So it's Husso versus Reimer. Neither of these goalies had a great game. They really didn't. And when even the announcers were like, yeah, so the goaltending's been, yeah. So shots are 2-0 for the Sharks at 2.5 minutes. San Jose gets a power play. The Wings didn't let them set up. That's killed off. Things get pushy after a hold by Husso, and then LeBanc opens the scoring for San Jose. From Carlson and Meyer at 6:56, it was a drop pass and a one-timer in the back of the net. Shots are 7-1 for the Sharks at 9 minutes. But on the second shot Detroit gets, they score. It's Hronik from Perron at 9:39. Nice cross-ice pass by Perron, who had a fantastic game himself. Wings get a power play. That's killed off. And then San Jose gets the lead. It is Nieto from Carlson and Cicek at 12:52. I believe that's Cicek's first NHL point. Wings get a power play. That was killed off. The Sharks press with 2 minutes left. But after the first period, it's 2-1 San Jose, who, of course, committed tonight on a 3-game winning streak. Second period, early jump for the Sharks. Meyer has a rush chance. That's broken up. I would also like to say that it is a shame that San Jose didn't wear the reverse retros. They just wore their road whites tonight against Detroit. I was actually kind of sad. So the shots are 3-1 for the Wings at 6.5 minutes. The Wings would get a power play. Perron's shot is held. Good cycle by Detroit, but it is killed off. The Sharks press with 9.5 minutes left. Puck goes the other way, and Perron would score on the rush from Larkin and Kubalik at 11:27. That goal was originally given to Larkin, but it deflected off Perron into the net, so it's his goal. Meyer was then denied. Husso holds, and then Wallman with his first goal as a Detroit Red Wing from Rasmussen and Ernie at 16:44. It was a really good shift by that line, and it's blasted home by Wallman. Sharks press with 2 minutes left, and there was more pressure by the Sharks in the final minute. But coming out of that period, Detroit's ahead 3-2. Third period, Bonino has a rush chance that's held, and then on a wraparound, Veleno makes it 4-2 from Suter and Berggren at 4:58. So Berggren with a helper, and watching that, and I said out loud, well, I don't have to worry about overtime in San Jose tonight. I can get the review started at a decent time. I won't have to worry about overtime and shootout. Raymond has a rush chance that's broken up. Big saves for Husso as the Sharks press, but then they start going in. First, it's Couture from Barabanov and Carlson at 8:58. So Carlson with a bunch of points tonight. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Because he scores the goal that ties it from LeBanc and Hurdle at 11:31. That one went off Andrew Kopp. So it's 4-4. And I might have been just kind of watching that thinking, okay, so shootout time. So Sider would restore my faith in humanity from Perron and Sherratt at 13:54. That's Sider's first goal of the year. That's long overdue. And then Suter scores at 16:23. Reimer comes out to play the puck and try to poke check him. No. So what happens is Suter just goes around him and just puts it in the empty net. So not the best move by Reimer. I mean, when a goaltender does that, it works. He looks fantastic. He's a hero. And when he comes out of the net to try to check the guy and it doesn't work and it goes in the net like that, he looks like a goober. So they would pull the goaltender. That would allow Kubalik to get the empty netter from Larkin at 18:45. Your final score is 7-4 for Detroit. They go to 8-5-4 with the win. San Jose drops to 6-10-3 with the loss. The 3 stars were not updated by the time that I had started this video, and I thought I have no faith in the 3 stars. Okay, here we go. Perron, Carlson, and LeBanc. Whenever San Jose's at home, they always get 2 or all 3 of the 3 stars, and it doesn't matter if they win or lose. Really? LeBanc. All right. I understand Carlson. I totally get Carlson. But Perron, first star, that makes sense. I already said he had a really good game. So, all right. Perron, Carlson, and LeBanc. They lost 7-4. Anyway, the shots, 9-4 San Jose in the first, 9-8 Detroit in the second, 8-7 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 24-21 for the Sharks. Power plays, Detroit 0-3, San Jose 0-1. The hits, 24-15 for Detroit. Husso, 20 saves on 24 shots. Reimer, 14 saves on 20 shots. Not his best game. So he's just going to have to shrug that off and move on to the next one. But there you go. We're done. 13 games. I got it in a relatively decent amount of time, but it's always going to be more than 45 minutes when it's that many games. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.